Disturbing secret laboratories, drunk neighbors, and haunting stalkers. Here are some of the darkest TikToks ever uploaded to the platform. In the social media age, it can seem like everyone wants to be famous, and sometimes we should really be careful what we wish for. Mass appeal brings with it mass attention, and as an audience grows, so do the risks. A perfect example is Ava Majori, the now 16-year-old influencer who learned this fact under terrifying circumstances. Ava joined TikTok in April of 2020. Her content was primarily lip sync and dance videos, just like every other teenager, though she always played the occasional prank on a family member. And these videos were fairly innocuous. But because of Ava's personality and her affiliation with other teenage girls, her rise to fame was meteoric, because 2 years later, she would have a following in excess of 1.2 million followers on TikTok alone. A factor in her rapid success was her approachability. She'd often reply to viewers' comments, and this connection with her fans is part of what made her so likable. Little did she know these innocent interactions with her audience would bring about something very strange. You see, during Ava's earliest days on TikTok, a user named Eric Justin 111 would discover her videos, and he immediately began seeking the influencer's attention. And because she made a point to interact occasionally, he'd get a taste of it. Justin would then progress to sending direct messages through Snapchat and Instagram, and even joining online games with Ava and her brothers. Things became especially troubling when he started calling her on her personal cell phone. This shocked Ava, being just 14 years old at the time. This was terrifying. Some guy online was trying to stalk her and now had her personal cell phone. This TikTok game was going way too far, and Ava would soon be told by a friend of hers that Justin had tracked down her friends, both in her current location in Florida and in New Jersey, where she had lived previously. And not only was she terrified that her location had been tracked by this guy who was following her TikTok videos, but he had found her friends, and soon he would find her family. And most shocking of all was that some of these friends really weren't Ava's friends, as a few of them had actually been willing to sell him pictures of her, as well as Ava's personal information. Soon Ava would be in a panic attack. Her friends were completely fake, telling all of her personal secrets to a guy stalking her. And this guy stalking her not only knew her location, but knew everything about her. Pictures of her, personal information, her phone number, her location. And she, on the other hand, had no idea who this guy was. On one occasion, Justin had, quote, logged onto a classmate's school account and did math homework in exchange for information about Ava and her family. And so soon, Ava's whole world would come tumbling down. The success of her TikTok videos was now destroying her life from within. It got to a point where Ava claimed, quote, I had to unfollow all of my local friends and Jersey friends. And everyone around me was like, oh, you're going Hollywood on all of us. You don't want to talk to us anymore. And I'm like, you're selling my stuff. Soon she realized that she could trust no one. And as she started to disconnect from everyone around her, Justin's obsession was growing. But then even stranger was that Ava's parents would make a very questionable decision, allowing their daughter to sell pictures to her stalker. Now I have no idea why the parents would ever do this. And it makes me think that Ava couldn't even trust her family, friends, or anyone in her life. She was completely isolated at just 14 years old. Everyone was using her for something. Ava then likely tried to downplay the situation, said the following in an interview with a journalist. I wasn't sending anything of my body, it was just pictures of my face, which is what I assumed that he was paying for. My whole thing is my pretty smile. That's my content. In the same article, it's then stated that the stalker sent Ava $300 via Venmo, all in exchange for just 2 pictures. However, Ava went on to contradict this in an Instagram post during the aftermath, claiming she'd only sent 2 or 3 images that were posted elsewhere and had charged $5 for each. Regardless, it was soon becoming apparent that this would be a terrible decision. Now, at the very start of his obsession, Ava was only 13, but when he was targeting her, she was now a 14-year-old girl, and he wanted to see, quote, booty pics. This was crossing a very dark line. So after way too long, Ava would eventually block this obsessive fan on all social platforms, and her father would step in, seeing that the situation was unraveling in a very dark way, with her dad warning her against any further contact with this man. So in desperation, Justin resorted to throwing more money her way, with pleas to unblock him attached. The first payment was almost $160, and the second was another $100. The final payment of $370 came with a message that read, "Sorry, this is all I have left. I'm broke." With the cash having failed, Justin's impulses took him to darker places. Through kids at school, Dad reached Ava that her stalker was plotting something. The source was a classmate who was on speaking terms with the increasingly predatory follower. When confronted, this classmate forwarded Justin's messages, but they proved the rumors true. In one, Justin has said, "I want to grape emoji her bro." Now, to be clear, this emoji is used by some online as a stand-in for the R word. In another, he'd said, "I could just breach the door with a shotgun, I think." Now Ava was terrified. This man was insane. And the fact that this man knew all of her friends and even family meant that she had no place to hide. So Ava would finally inform her parents of all of this. But their response again was so questionable. Her parents researched Justin and, when they realized he lived hundreds of miles away, determined that he wasn't a threat at all. Little did they know how wrong they would be. In the early hours of July 10th, 2021, Justin arrived at their residence armed with a shotgun, accessed through a local contact, and at 4:30 a.m., he used it to breach the front door as planned. As Ava would claim, quote, "All I remember was I heard it, felt it in my chest, and I looked up and there was a hole in my door from the fragments." With Justin shooting down their door, her parents rushed out of bed, her mom dialing in a panic 911, and her dad went straight towards the shooter. When her dad ran outside, Justin fled. The retired lieutenant gave chase but fell and wounded his knee. He then headed home, retrieved his pistol, and stood guard while waiting for the cops to arrive. But before they could, the predator returned. The dad demanded that Justin drop the weapon, but he would raise it instead. So, with the adrenaline pumping through his veins, Ava's dad would shoot him cold. Police then recovered 2 phones from his body containing thousands of pictures of Ava. In this case, tragedy was averted. Ava then switched to homeschooling. She no longer felt safe with anyone around her and couldn't trust anyone. Along with her parents' very questionable decision-making, Ava would live a life of constant anxiety, never trusting anyone, always being in perpetual fear. And yet, even with all of this, Ava's online career as a TikToker continues. But whether this is wise is very debatable, given she's still a minor with an overwhelmingly male audience. Nevertheless, the family of admins that quote sick people won't push them offline.